So hi, welcome to the post-production process of the picture we just took of vote. Sorry, don't tell your vote. So today we'll be processing the picture in Photoshop and some other softwares that are inside Photoshop. So we'll be building up from camera raw as the last class earlier stated. Now we're building up from camera raw, then we go straight up into Photoshop. So this class will be a little bit dicey because we'll be doing some little kind of graphics and editing while at that. So join us with the class. And I said, first thing first, after any shoot, make sure you back up your picture, no matter how tired, no matter how fizzled out you are, just make sure you back up what your pictures is as important as the picture you just took or the pictures you've taken over time. Make sure you back them up. And if you have an external hard drive, make sure you back them up on an external hard drive. And how to save your picture will be a course for another day. So because we've just finished the shoot, we'll be going to the pictures we have taken, and we'll be these are old pictures, so we'll be going down to the last picture we've taken. I don't really like formatting my card, so we go to the pictures we just took today from here to here, and I'm going to copy them and create a folder on the desktop and name the folder vote. So vote, you might create the document and the folder on any file you want. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so I'm going to wait for it to open, and while I'm at that, I'm going to start opening my Photoshop. So I've clicked on my Photoshop and I'm waiting for that to open. So while my Photoshop is opening, and you know the concept behind the picture we all just took, it's more or less like a freestyle picture, but the kind of editing we're going to be doing to it will make it a little bit, I don't want to use the extraordinary, but create an art from it. Alright, so my Photoshop is opened and I'm going to start importing the pictures into Photoshop. Alright, so I'm going to click open from my Photoshop, then I'm going to browse through where the picture is. The name of the picture is vote on the desktop, so I'm going to click on vote. Okay, because I don't really know the picture I'm going to be using, and I have 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10 pictures, so I'm going to highlight all and open all of them in camera raw. So from camera raw, I will be able to preview the pictures properly and select the one I want to use. Alright, so this is a nice picture. Oh, he's smiling here, so somebody just hold his vote should not be smiling. No. Alright, so I think I like this. So because I like this, I'm going to rate it 4 or 3. So I'm going to click on this particular area and rate the picture 3. So I'm going to give it 3 stars, and I'm going to come here, and because it's a challenge as much as is a class, so I'm going to be using 3 pictures basically, but I will teach you now how to edit and just a particular one. And okay, let's just go with this. Okay, I think I like this too. It looks bold and fearless. So I'm gonna move to the last one. Let me see one with somebody buying the vote and see what we can do with that. And here, okay, I think I love this illustration behind this. Okay, I'm gonna give this one 4 star. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the pictures I have already rated with stars by pressing and holding my control key to pick the pictures individually. So I have 2 and 3. Okay, now before then, I'm going to start processing the pictures individually. So I'll start processing with this one inside Camera Raw. And basic introduction to what Camera Raw is. Camera Raw is the raw processing software inside Photoshop. So I love the color of the skin, but the clothes look overexposed. So I'm going to reduce the highlight in the clothes. I'm going to reduce the highlight on the clothes, and note that because I reduce the highlight on the clothes, the highlight on the money and the highlight on the card he was holding has reduced. So I'm going to try to play around that so I can get a perfect lighting system. largely every time I make sure I deal with my highlights and darkness first. So looking at this image now, I think I need to increase a little of my shadows so it can be more brighter. Then I love clarity in my picture, so I'm going to add just a little clarity to it, because, and after in post-production, in Photoshop, I'll still add more clarity and add a little bit of vibrance. Then I'll come to HSL and add red, more red to this image, so the red in the background can pop. So I'm going to add a little bit of red to this image and reduce the orange. Naturally in Photoshop, orange is normal human skin tone, and reduce the orange a little. Then I look at the 500. I think there's yellow somewhere, so I'm going to increase yellow a little. Then I'm going to increase this color, since it looks like the color on the ID card, so that can pop. Okay, that's what I will be doing to this picture. So let me open this picture alone. And we'll continue from there. So I'm going to click open. When I'm done with the little processes I've done inside Camera Raw, I'm going to click on open. Look, are you sleeping? Okay. So this is Photoshop. Now, first thing first, I love to do when I'm inside Photoshop is to please give me water. First of all, I love to do when I'm inside Photoshop is to reduce or manage my picture. First thing first, I would love to manage my picture inside Photoshop. So by managing my picture, I mean I'm reducing the number of things I'll be working on. So by concentrating on the things I should be concentrating on. So Ctrl+ to zoom in this picture. I will look at it closely and see what is wrong. Then I'll start treatment by enlarging the background here. I will be enlarging the background here. So to enlarge that background there, I'm going to click on my marquee tool. Did you rinse this cup? I'm going to click on my marquee tool with the shortcut M as the shortcut. So when I pick my marquee tool, I'm going to come to this edge and draw a straight line down. Then without releasing my mouse, I'm going to press down my shift button and drag this selection to the right, so I can leave his shoulder area. Drag it up a little, then reduce what I've already picked. Then I'm going to press a shortcut of Command Shift or C. So my selection becomes Command Shift or C. So the area I've already selected with my marquee tool becomes it will be transformable. So I'm going to drag this transformer from here to this end here and press enter. And I'm going to use Ctrl D to deselect. So already I have filled in that shade from that end. And I'm going to do the same thing to this end. There are so many ways you can do this, so it's not compulsory you follow my particular method. I'm going to use that same thing again. Ctrl Shift Alt C. C for cut. And I'm going to transform it from here to here and press enter. And use my Ctrl D to deselect. Now the reason why I love this particular method is that it has a way of spreading the same content and the same pixel from one end to the other end of where I want to replace, like that. So I told you there's so many other ways to do it. You can use your clone stamp to do that, but for the sake of this class I will just use this particular one. I'm going to zoom into this picture and see what else I need to remove or add to this picture. Then nothing, so we're going to go straight up into frequency separation, where I'm going to treat the skin before I start to add effects to it. So when you get your picture right in frequency separation and retouching, then you can now get it a lot more better when you're now adding more effects to the picture. Love this here. Zoom this up a little. I'm just trying to arrange my workstation. So to start with my frequency separation. I'm going to duplicate my background layer twice. So by duplicating your background layer, you can either drag this down like this, and that is duplicated, or you press Ctrl J twice to duplicate your layers. So after pressing Ctrl J twice, I'm going to rename each of the layers. So to rename it, come to where the name is here around here and double click. And I'm going to name the first one high. Then I'm going to come to the layer 1 and double click on layer 1 and name it low. Then I'm going to blind, I love to use the word blind because that's, so I'm going to blind the layer, high layer, then come to my filter, go to blur, then pick Gaussian Blur. Now, looking at the skin of the guy with a lot of details, I'm going to blur it by 4 pixels. So I'm going to, my radius will be 4 pixels. I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to unblind, my high layer, then click on that high layer, then go to image, apply image, then look at this process. I'm going to change from my layer, I'm going to change from merged, I'm going to change it to low. So I'm applying the high layer to the low layer. Then I'm going to come to my blending mode. I'm going to change it from multiply to what? Subtract. Something is wrong. Something's wrong right here. Something is wrong right here. Okay, sorry. The preview button was not on. That was what was wrong. So I'm going to pick what? Subtract, and I make sure my scale is 2. Okay, what's the question?
What condition is that on add?
I told you in no condition are you putting anything on add. Now, you might have heard somebody tell you to put it on hard, but now listen to this illustration. When the reason for frequency separation is basic. Now, why you are doing frequency separation is for you to separate color from texture. So when you are adding, it's more or less you saying that you are adding texture again to color, rather than subtracting texture from color and putting both of them on different layers. Am I clear? Because it works, and that's why your color grade, what did I put it? That's why your frequency separation is not nice, because it's like you are merging. Instead of you to separate them, you put them together and you are applying the same thing. So automatically I have detail, Abby, and the low too have detail and color. Am I communicating? So instead of you to subtract detail from color and separate them, so your high have the detail, your low have what? The color. So when you add now, high have detail, low have detail and color. As the name implies, it's add and subtract. Am I communicating? So I'm subtracting, I'm not adding. So mathematically, your scale should be on 2 always, and your offset should be on what? 128. The mathematics or mathematical analogy to that, I don't know. Okay, now, so after that, make sure your eye layer is highlighted. Then you come to your what? What's the name of this thing again? Whatever it is, I will remember the name much later. Then you go to what? Linear light. So yeah, blending mode. The name of this is called blending mode. So I'm going to click on what? Linear light. Now, how do you know that you got or do you get your frequency separation right? Now, with my previous explanation of what frequency separation is this. Frequency separation is separating color from texture or color from detail. So to know that you get your frequency separation right, when you combine the detail and the color, it should give you back the original image. So how do you check that? I need to press down your Alt key and click on the visibility button in your high menu. Then if you see any difference in your image, that means you get it what's wrong. By pressing down your Alt key, what I'm saying is that this background layer should be the only layer that should be what? Visible. Am I communicating? Alright, not to confuse you guys. I'm going to group these two layers together. So I'm going to control and click on these two layers to highlight them, and I'm going to press Ctrl G to group them together. So I'm going to be offing and onning. I'm going to off the visibility of this group and look at the image closely. I'm zooming in as much as possible, so you see that there is no difference in the image. No difference in the image. So if you have any difference in your own image, no matter how minute the difference might be, something is wrong with your frequency separation. So I'm going to start my color management. I'm going to start color management now. So there are so many ways to do this particular color management, but there's no two ways to doing frequency separation. So some people use what is called the mixer brush tool. What's a mixer brush tool now? You guys have messed up this thing. Okay. Some people use the mixer brush tool, but I logically prefer to use what? My lasso tool. So I'll pick my lasso tool, and largely I love my feather to be on 15. So I'll set my feather to be what? 15. Then I make sure that my low layer, which contains the color. Now what I'm trying to do is to make sure I blend the skin tones evenly without destructing or obstructing the flow of light and shadow on the skin. So anywhere that I have, or any place that I have the same light pattern or the same skin tone, I'm going to blend them together. Largely we know that we live in Nigeria, and the sun in Nigeria is not giving you the original skin God gave you. So what I'm trying to do with frequency separation is trying to give you the original skin God gave you. I don't mean you're in America. Alright, so I'm going to start. It's only in Nigeria they sell their votes here, so the analogy is very correct. So with my lasso tool on 15 feather, I will mark areas that have almost the same. I might not get them perfectly, but with my eyes, but I will try as much as possible to mark areas that have almost the same light pattern and what? Color tone. So from here now, I will mark here and end it up like this. Then I go to my filter. So sorry, don't forget to always click what? Your low layer. Come to my filter, go to blur, then pick what? Gaussian Blur. From Gaussian Blur, if you go too far, you will mess up the image. So you just look for a reasonable place to be. Now because the image is zoomed in, you might not really know the intensity of what is applied. So you need to zoom it out as much as possible, so you can just see the intensity of what is applied. So I'm going to apply on, I just want to go on 20 or 22. 22 is too much, so I'm going to come on 11 or 15. So I'm applying it on 15. Then I'm going to what? Deselect by pressing Ctrl D. Now I'm going to zoom in so you see what has happened to that skin in that area. So I'm going to press down my Alt key and do this. Now look at that area, this area closely, and you see what has happened to that area. The effect is minute, but is efficient. So in Photoshop, what you are trying to do is not trying to disrupt somebody's face. It's just trying to give the person the best tone the person could have. So I'm going to zoom out again and pick another area. So now I don't need to be going back to my filter to be picking Gaussian Blur again. So I'll just be using the shortcode what? Control F. So by Control F, I'm repeating the previous filter. Sorry, here is Control Alt F. I beg your pardon. So on this system is Control Alt F to repeat the previous filter I've added. So I'm going to do what? Undo. Then when you're doing this, you don't really need to talk to anybody because you might miss up or just you might miss some parts. So I'm going to be doing that. So concentrate while I do this. So only thing I'm doing is what? Picking the area that I want, pressing Ctrl Alt F, then deselecting with Ctrl D. Pick another area I want, Ctrl Alt F, deselect with Ctrl D. Pick another area I want. Now note that I'm trying as much as possible not to match up things. If you select too close, generator. If you select too close, please close this window. If you select too close to the cap or the cloth, the filter you are applying, the Gaussian blur you are applying, will blend the cloth to the skin, which will not be nice. We blend the cloth to what? The skin, which will not be nice. So I'm going to deselect that and do a practice for you. So just assume I'm very close to this cap like this, and I use my Ctrl Alt F again to apply that filter. Now note that, beg your pardon. So just note that Ctrl D, there's black interference in this area of the picture, and that is because the cap is black. So the color is fading into what? The skin. So I'm going to undo that by pressing Ctrl Alt Z as many times as possible to make sure I undo that completely. So I'm going to start picking again. So I won't move too close to the edges for any reason. So I'm going to Ctrl Alt F to apply again. I think it needs double there. So I'm going to come to this side of his face. I'll apply double here too, or triple. So you can apply it as many times as possible just to get the perfect skin that you're looking for in that area. So I'm going to do it once here, Control deselect. I pick when I pick too close to this nose, note that this area is black and it's not the same light range with this area. So I'm going to remove by pressing down my Alt key and mark the area I want to remove. Then I'm going to apply my Gaussian blur and deselect. It brought in the white there, but it doesn't really mean because it didn't put in more effect. I'm going to apply my Gaussian blur. Now, because I'm getting to the edges, now I'm going to reduce my feather from 15 to like 9 or 8. So I'm going to come here and pick this area, then remove here, then apply. Now you may not be seeing a lot of difference now until you zoom in this picture completely. You now start to see the effect of what, until you zoom out completely, then you now start to see the effect of what you have added to this picture. So I want to press my Alt and remove this area from this picture. Then I'm pressing Ctrl Alt F again to, beg your pardon, I've picked the high layer. So when you pick your high layer, you see what happens. I've messed up my detail. So I'm going to undo that and come back to my low layer and press Ctrl Alt F to apply. Then I'll just be pressing Ctrl Alt F. I'll mark and press Ctrl Alt F to be doing that on the steady. I think music should be playing around now because I want to be fast with this. I don't waste your time. So Ctrl delete. The exposure here is too much. I'm going to blend it out a little. I'll just select that, and I'm going to zoom in as much as possible because I want to pick some delicate areas. I'm going to be picking these areas here and applying what I used to apply. I will deselect that and pick this area here, apply and deselect. Come to this area here, apply and deselect. Come to this area here, apply. Too much. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to apply here and deselect, and I'm going to zoom out completely by pressing Ctrl O. Then I'm going to look at where I have not touched. So logically I could see that I have not touched this area of his face. It will look different when you don't touch any area. I'm going to be applying that. I'm going to be applying that. Then I'm going to come to, okay, like what's here. Then I'm going to zoom out again with Control O. So to see where you are and where you are going to, I'm going to press down my Alt key and click on the background layer. So from here to here is what we have done. So from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. So I'm going to zoom in again and come to his hand here. So because the skin is smooth, the hand needs what? To be smooth too. So I'm going to pick this area. Blur, Gaussian blur. I'm applying a different blur range to the hand because the hand needs to carry muzzle. So I'm going to deselect, pick another area. Please give me my mouse. Control Alt F to deselect. Control Alt F to deselect. Where's the mouse track? Sorry, let me change this mouse. I'm not enjoying it. Okay, so I'm gonna mark in Control Alt F, and I'll deselect that, mark this area, remove, sorry, apologies. I'm gonna undo, Control Z to undo, then press on my Alt key to remove the too much area I've marked, then Control Alt F, sorry, because I already marked the eye layer, so I'm gonna come to the low layer and Control Alt F to apply and deselect that. Now look at this skin is smoother than this area, so I'm going to zoom in as much as possible and come to the area and mark those areas and Control Alt F to deselect and deselect again, mark that area, Control Alt F to apply and deselect. Because I'm really zoomed in, you may not see the effect of what you're doing, but when you zoom out you will definitely see. There's nothing you add in Photoshop that is a waste. Just know that when you add it too much, it becomes what? Over-edited. So I'm going to remove this area. It's too close to the edge. So Control Alt F to apply and deselect it. I'm going to zoom out with Control O. And this is where we are at the moment. Now, looking at this picture, I can see that this area of his head is not well retouched, and this area of his face. So I'm going to zoom in to that area. So I saw that the area of his face here are now really well retouched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be picking those areas and I'm going to Control Alt F to apply. I don't know, this thing, it's like my system. Control Alt F to apply. So I'm just blending those areas. F to apply. Control F to apply. So I'm going to zoom out. So this is where we are with this image. So with where we are with this image now means that we can go and see before by pressing down my Alt key and click on the background. So we have before and after, before and after, before and after, before and after, before and after. So why I'm doing this repeatedly is for me to be able to see areas I've not really touched or areas I've over touched. So I'm doing the before and after. Now if anybody have noticed that here on this nose there's this light here, so that light needs to be eradicated because it's not normal. I'm going to press Ctrl Alt F twice and deselect. So when I do my before and after again, you see that that has been removed completely. Then you'll be looking out for areas that you have not really touched. Now if you look at this area, you see it is not touched. Look at the before and look at the after. You see that area on the eyebrow is not touched. So I'm going to touch that area. Do that and touch this area. Ctrl Alt F to apply. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to zoom in. So at this junction now, I'm done with what? The skin treatment. So what next is that Naturally, when you're doing this, there's every tendency that you have messed up or you have muddled up light and